Hi there. My name is Dr. Claire Sira, and I am a neuropsychologist in Victoria, BC. I do a lot of work with adults with ADHD. I want to share with you some of the problems that I notice get in the way for people when they're trying to get complicated, time-dependent tasks done. And there's three main problems that seem to get in the way for most adults. The first one is they get overwhelmed. People tell me that they feel overwhelmed just managing the daily tasks of life, let alone big problems. They feel like they don't seem to be able to handle what other adults handle without much difficulty. And that is getting in their way. The second problem that people tell me they have is they get distracted. So they start lots of tasks, but they don't finish them, and they end up with a lot of unfinished tasks. And that feels lousy. The third problem is they procrastinate. And so they don't give themselves enough time to do their best work, and they end up doing the bare minimum. And that doesn't feel good either. So the three problems that people tell me they have and that I help them with are feeling overwhelmed, getting distracted, and procrastinating. So I imagine if you're still watching, you have some of these problems. So we'll start with feeling overwhelmed. You want to feel like you are on top of the demands in your life. You want to feel like you can manage as well as anybody else. Perfectly reasonable. So how do you get there? So I believe the first thing we have to do is assess your time. How are you spending your time? Then we look at how to block your time. And that's a scheduling thing. But it's even before scheduling. It's just how do you block time? And then the third part is figuring out what's on your plate. You kind of need to know what's on your plate before you can schedule your time. And so that third one I call a boss list, because you're being the boss of yourself. So those are the three parts of dealing with overwhelm. Now, the second part, if you didn't get too distracted and forget, is distractions. I tease, but it's a problem, I know. Believe me, I know. So you want to feel accomplished. You want to be able to resist distractions and get some stuff done and get that good feeling of finishing things. So there's three things you need to do. I help people figure out how long they can reliably sustain their attention to a difficult and maybe boring task. And we call that a mental sprint time. Then we figure out what distractions are in your control and what aren't in your control, and what are you going to do about each of those. And then lastly, I help people chunk big tasks into smaller tasks. So we go from a big complex task into many small tasks through a task analysis. So that looks like this. So I did say there were three things. And if you're still hanging in, the third thing is procrastination. So lots of people tell me that they want to start tasks earlier and do a better job, but they just can't seem to stop procrastinating. And they're not really sure why they do it. So the first thing we have to do is decode why they do it. Procrastination has costs and it has benefits. And so figuring out your own reasons for procrastinating will be helpful if you want to address it. The second thing we do is we learn how to schedule. I have many pro tips on techniques on scheduling, and that is a really important skill to learn to manage procrastination. And then lastly, when I help everybody I work with, if they're dealing with ADD challenges, is I pull all of those things together that I've just talked about to really help them be effective in creating schedules. So now I'm going to show you the whole thing. I don't want to overwhelm you, but here it is. So for better living with ADHD, we want to deal with the problems of overwhelm, procrastination, and distractions so that you can feel on top of things, you can do your best work, and you can feel accomplished despite your symptoms. and your true self can shine through. So if you think you'd like help with these problems, let me know. We're opening up a new group this month. And if you think you'd like more information about it, just comment below this video, say better, because you want to live better with ADD, and somebody from my team will contact you to follow up. Thanks so much for your interest.